Yeah.
Well, the short price favourite at the moment is you, according to the Herald Sun tonight. Mark Robinson has put you up, but let's put up the board. I mean, this is what happens in these situations. I can tell you they haven't spoken to anybody yet, but let's go through them, Karen.
Well, obviously, Alastair Clarkson, who in my view won't be at Hawthorn next year, is a big candidate. Ross Lyon we'll talk to in a moment. Chris Scott, although contracted by Geelong believe he might be looked at. Brad Scott, I don't believe he will coach for family reasons, but they will look at him. Sam Mitchell, I'm not so sure about. Don Pike, suddenly back in contention. And then on the sidelines and not in the wanted men, I just wonder about someone like Adam Simpson, who's only got 1 year to go on his contract.
Cara, before we move on to Ross, you just said something there. Alastair Clarkson won't be at Hawthorn next year. So
I don't believe he will be.
So you believe he'll be coaching Collingwood or Carlton next year?
That's my view. Yes, it is. And I honestly think that these two situations are linked now and there is a race on. But Ross, you're also...
No, let's stop on that one. I think if Alastair's out of Hawthorn, now he's contracted, that would have to be a president to a president conversation, not unlike Malthouse at West Coast when a year to go. So I think there's no other conversation. And you know the lay of the land. And if that's accurate and Alastair's happy to be moved on and move, nothing else counts because he's the best coach in the land and therefore it's one needs to get in first.
It makes sense to me.
With
Hawthorn
respect, I don't like that because
a rebuild,
David
and Alastair only has a year to go on his contract. He has a difficult relationship with the president, and I think he will be looking at newer horizons as well. But Ross, we have to ask you this question. This is your second year in the media, and we've asked you before, but my view is you will receive a call, if not from Collingwood, certainly from Carlton, and probably from both.
Well, I
Will
sit here as a media commentator, so I have to answer the question, OK? So it is a hypothetical.
My oath you do.
But when I finished, Adelaide did reach out and North Melbourne. I took the calls because they're AFL clubs. There's 18 jobs in the country and that they deserve a lot of respect. And I like to listen. I like to have a conversation with those people. And I certainly wasn't in the frame of mind, but, you know, it was nice that you got called. It was a show of respect. But if someone called me, it didn't matter. They are big Melbourne clubs. And I don't like this. David Teague is in a job. I think he should see out the year. I should be reviewed heavily. So let's just talk about the Collingwood job. They're one of the biggest clubs in the land. Incredible tradition, enormous. If someone rang me for Collingwood and said, can we talk? Of course I would sit down and have a discussion, but I can't give you a flippant answer here. I'd lock the key on it. And trying to make the best of a new career at a property investment house, Wisel Property Group, and Channel 9 doing the right thing in Triple M. So, for me, it's such a big position. Nathan Buckley is a revered figure. We saw how he handled it, and he still got chewed up and spat out. So, it's not a simple flippant, I'm interested, because they are big jobs, and they need someone that's unconditional, committed, and the right... But again, I'll go back. If Alastair Clarkson's available, there is no competition. Just pull out whatever he needs, have the conversation and get him signed.
I'm not so sure about that. I also wouldn't think he was chewed up and spat out. He was there for nearly a decade as a coach. Ed, I think that Ross Lyon is going to take this call if he gets it. Tell him why he should coach Collingwood.
Well...
Time to do your pitch.
Well, look, I look at it as simple as this. There's been a lot of hysteria as well. OK, there's been some issues at Collingwood, but last year did fix up the West Coast Eagles over there in the last game, did make the decisions on where the salary cap, and there's about 12 or 14 clubs at the moment who are up to pussy's bow on the salary cap because it changed. And we saw at Collingwood what was going to happen post-COVID. Now, we don't even know where post-COVID is. We thought that might have been in 12 months. The salary cap isn't going up, and Collingwood's position is set, right? Some short-term pain, but the long-term gain will be there as far as the list is concerned. Gone in, got some good young kids. I'd say to you this, Ross, you come to a club that reveres coaches. There's been 2 in 23 years. You get the best facilities in the caper, and in after the last game this year, another $15 million worth is going into rebuilding the facilities for health and everything else. You've got a club that has got a fantastic women's program. You've got a club that looked at itself from within and came good with the Do Better report, and that's all underway. Most of the problems that we thought that might have been there have been addressed because people wanted to clear the slate before they actually finished.
So are you saying you want Ross Lyon coaching your club?
No, he asked me if I'm pitching to Ross Lyon, if I'm pitching to Alastair Clarkson, if I'm pitching to Robert Harvey. I know what that club's like. It's a great club.
Yeah.
You play the big games, the MCG. It is the famous club.
You're
If you were
not flying
to-
every second, not flying every second week.
But do you have the hunger and the passion for it?
As I
14 games at the MCG, and you don't have to worry about your cheque arriving, mate. It turns up.
No, Banks. It's not a flippant response. It needs serious consideration. There's lots of variables, and they are a big, powerful club. But the spotlight is squarely on you. There's nowhere to hide in this town. You need to be eyes wide open and ready and prepared. And I think, as I said, I see Clarkson, Caroline. If that's happening, which would surprise me a little bit, I don't know why Hawthorn wouldn't want him. But if that's the case,
I'm not saying Hawthorn are going to sack Alastair Clarkson. I'm saying that I believe I will not be surprised if there's a happy goodbye from both sides.
But if I'm Hawthorn, I'm Graham Wright. No one knows Clarko better. You go after Alastair Clarkson, and then if you can't get him, you move on.
There's one major piece in the puzzle at the Pies. They've got to get the EGM thing sorted out. And I want Mark Corder and Jeff Brown to sit down one more time and work it out, because the sooner that gets sorted out, the sooner the Pies can get on with a new era. The last era has been fantastic.
It's a thorn in the side of your hard sell, Ed, when you've got a club at civil war with
Yeah, but that's right. So take the thorn out, because that's what we've done over the last year. We've gone through line by line on everything that had to be fixed. It has been fixed. It's ready to go.
Is the thorn being taken out by Corder rolling over, though? Is that how the thorn's taken?
Well, no, just come to a resolution. As I said, I'm not handing out how to vote cards on this. All we need to do is just get it sorted, and away we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, before we go to is there any issue between Graham Wright and Alastair Clarkson? Or would that all be overlooked to get Clarkson?
Oh, I'm sure it would be. I mean, I'm sure that there were times they wore on each other, particularly towards the end of the relationship. And the COVID year was a bad year, bad experience for Hawthorn. But I'm sure a year
But
away
if you're not
from each
clacking
other.
heads as a coach and footy manager, you haven't got the right people.
I don't think that's.
You want
I don't think that would
robust,
be an issue.
rigorous debate.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a choir.
We don't want the springs in the back of the head, everyone going, yeah, because then we all say you've got yes men all around him.